Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. I am Mayur, and in today's episode we are going to discuss about various identification and authentication techniques. So without any delay, let's begin. See, identification is a straightforward concept. It would be good to check out the previous episodes. Check the card on the top. See, basically in identification you present an identity to declare who you are. Your driving license, social security number, or say Aadhaar, etc. are identities which you commonly know. In terms of subject and object, a subject must provide an identity to a system to start the authentication, authorization, and accountability processes. See, proving an identity can be typing in a username, swiping a smart card, or waving a token device, speaking a phrase, or positioning your face, hand, or finger for a camera or a scanning device. Without an identity, a system has no way to correlate an authentication factor with the subject. A subject's identity is typically considered to be public information, like your email ID. This email ID can be known to everybody. However, to log in into the email, you need to prove that you are actually the owner of this identity. This leads to us to explore the authentication techniques in the next slides. See, passwords are the most common methods of authentication. Passwords can be used in the form of a string of letters, numbers, or special characters. To protect yourself, you need to create strong passwords that includes a combination of all possible options. However, passwords are prone to phishing attacks and bad hygiene that weakens its effectiveness. Passwords are prone to sharing, which is quite often done in organizations in the garb of doing business. Brute force attacks are also quite common. See, while a lot number of companies are trying to move away from passwords by generating dynamic passwords or cryptographic tokens, there still remains the most common form of authentication. As a security professional, you need to set a password policy in the organization. This policy actually dictates the kind of passwords that you want users to keep. You can suggest a 10 character password which will have a combination of numbers, special characters, lowercase, uppercase, etc. See, average user has multiple online accounts, and what generally happens is that people keep the same passwords for all the accounts. Write down the passwords, which is a security risk. To add another layer of security, companies add, multi-factor authentication. That is the OTP concept, which you may call as MFA. After you enter a password, you are asked to enter a numeric code which is mostly delivered by an SMS. While this may sound quite secure, this is also prone to social engineering attacks, but it surely reduces the risk in comparison to a single factor of authentication. See, a slightly more effective password is a passphrase. A passphrase is a string of characters, usually much longer than a password. See, while I've written a short passphrase that is "I love security," but I think you get the idea that this is a catchy phrase that is easy to remember but long enough to render any dictionary, brute force attacks, or even social engineering attacks unusable. Moving on, see biometrics. Phones today have brought in the power of biometric authentication in the hands or probably in the face of everybody. The Face ID or the fingerprint scanner in an iPhone is something which you use almost every minute to prove to the operating system that it is exactly who you are and is using the phone. Some apps even allow you to process, payments via fingerprints. Biometrics fall into the something you are and something you have authentication techniques. See, a biometric factor is a behavioral or a psychological characteristic that is unique to a subject. There are many types of biometric factors that includes fingerprints, this iris scans, retina scan, palm scan, etc. See, in some cases, a biometric may be used as an identification measure too, but in that case it will be used only to identify you and not authenticate you. If used for authentication, it must be a one-on-one match between what you present and the stored pattern. We will discuss about biometrics in detail in upcoming episodes. Now, say stand in the line and you'll get a token and which you may present to the ice cream seller and you'll get the ice cream. But however, in the digital world, we have tokens that generate passwords or say OTPs for you and or have a stored password in them which you can enter or authenticate yourself. Chip based ATM cards are an example of where you can enter a PIN. See, we'll discuss in detail in the upcoming episodes about the kind of tokens. See, there are static tokens that are the ones which are shown in the picture here. These are the old ones and are hardly used anywhere. A software token is far more prevalent. Then there is one which is called as the synchronous one, which is based on the clock intervals, while the asynchronous ones are based on the occurrence of an event. And then we have the fourth one, which is the challenge response tokens that generate passwords or responses based on instructions from the authentication system. Now we have certificate based authentication also. Now, certificate based authentication technologies identify users, machines, or devices by using digital certificates. A digital certificate is an electronic document based on the idea of a driver's license or a passport. See, the certificate contains the digital identity of a user, including a public key and the digital signature of a certification authority. Digital certificates prove the ownership of a public key and is issued only by a certification authority. See, if you look closely at the digital certificate for my website, you can see the issuer of the certificate, its validity period, and the SHA details. See, while the background process is automated, the certificate is presented to the server to prove the identity. The server verifies the credibility of the digital certificate and digital search the signature and the certificate authority. The server then uses the cryptography to confirm that the user has a correct private key associated with this certificate. I just subscribed to your blog. Isn't it an excellent passphrase? See, wouldn't you agree? If yes, just take a second to click on the subscribe button. Yes, that one, and press the bell icon too. See, the strength of a password can be determined by several factors. However, an important aspect is that you should not use dictionary or commonly used words. Password at the weight of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 may contain 14 characters, but that does not make it a strong password. So, the strength, you can always check out my blog for free practice questions and exam concepts, and also check out the mock exams at Udemy only. The Simplif exams are no longer there. So that's it for this, guys, and thank you for watching this episode, and I hope to see you in my next video.